While you're checking your stock portfolio every morning, watching it bounce up 0.5% and down 1%. The wealthiest people on the planet are quietly doing something completely different with their money. They're not glued to red and green candles. They're not refreshing a trading app at 9:30 a.m. In fact, a huge chunk of billionaire wealth isn't in the stock market at all. It's parked in something most everyday investors never even get access to: private equity. Before we get into why the ultra-wealthy prefer this over stocks, if you're new here, welcome. I put out videos like this to make the strategies rich people use actually understandable for the rest of us. So stick around. It's genuinely going to change how you see investing. All right, let's get into it. Here's the uncomfortable truth about the stock market. It's the investment everyone has access to, which is exactly why it isn't where the real fortunes are being multiplied. The stock market is public. Anyone with a phone and $50 can buy a share of Apple or Amazon. And when something is available to everyone, the extraordinary returns get competed away. Millions of investors, hedge funds, and algorithms are all staring at the same public information, all trying to find the same edge. That's why average annual stock market returns hover around 7 to 10% over the long run, solid, but not the kind of return that turns millions into billions. Private equity works differently. It's capital that buys entire companies, not shares, not a slice on an exchange, but real ownership and real control, usually companies that aren't publicly traded at all. And because it's illiquid, complex, and only open to accredited investors, institutions, and the ultra-wealthy, it doesn't face the same crowd of competition. Less competition for the same opportunity tends to mean more room for outsized returns. This is why names like Blackstone, KKR, and Apollo manage trillions of dollars for pension funds, endowments, and family offices of the world's richest people. This is why university endowments like Yale's, famous for the Yale model, dramatically shifted allocation away from public stocks and bonds into private markets starting in the 1990s and outperformed almost everyone for decades doing it. In this video, we're breaking down exactly what private equity is, why billionaires prefer it to the stock market, the actual mechanics of how it generates outsized returns, and importantly, the real risks nobody talks about. By the end, you'll understand the framework the wealthy use to think about capital, even if you never invest a single dollar in a private equity fund yourself. What private equity actually is, let's strip away the jargon. Private equity at its core is simple. A fund raises a large pool of money from wealthy investors and institutions and uses that money to buy companies outright, not shares of them, but the whole business. Once they own it, they don't just sit back and collect dividends the way a typical stock investor does. They actively run it. They bring in new management, cut wasteful costs, restructure debt, expand into new markets, acquire smaller competitors, and generally reshape the business to make it dramatically more valuable. Then, typically after 4 to 7 years, they sell it either to another company, to another private equity firm, or by taking it public through an IPO. The profit isn't made from a stock price ticking upward on speculation. It's made from actually transforming a business and selling it for more than they paid. Compare that to owning stock in a public company. When you buy shares of Coca-Cola, you have zero influence over their decisions. You're a passenger. Private equity investors are in the driver's seat. That difference, passive ownership versus active control, is the single biggest reason billionaires gravitate here. They're not betting on a company, they're building one. Why the math favors private equity? There are 4 structural advantages that make private equity so appealing to people who already have enormous amounts of capital. First, leverage. Private equity firms typically use significant amounts of borrowed money to fund an acquisition. This is where the term leveraged buyout comes from. If a firm buys a company for $1 billion using $300 million of their own cash and $700 million in debt, and that company's value grows to $2 billion, the return isn't calculated on the full $2 billion, it's calculated on their $300 million of actual investment. That leverage massively amplifies the percentage return compared to buying stock with cash on a public exchange. Second, operational control. As we covered, they can actually change how the business runs. Public market investors can only hope management makes good decisions. Private equity investors force them. Third, the illiquidity premium. Because your money is locked up for years, often 7 to 10, investors demand a higher expected return to compensate for not being able to access their cash. Public stocks can be sold in seconds, private equity cannot. That inconvenience is priced in as extra return for those who can afford to wait. Fourth, less competition and less efficiency. The stock market is what economists call efficient. Prices adjust almost instantly to new information because millions of participants are watching. Private markets are slower, more opaque, and full of overlooked or undervalued businesses that never make headlines. That inefficiency is where skilled operators find bargains nobody else even knew existed. Put those four together: borrowed money, active control, a reward for patience, and access to overlooked deals, and you start to see why family offices managing billionaire wealth have shifted so heavily toward this asset class over the last 3 decades. Quick pause here. If this is giving you a genuinely new way of thinking about how wealth actually compounds, do me a favor and hit that like button. It's a small thing, but it's the single biggest signal to YouTube that this content deserves to reach more people, and honestly, it's the best way to support the channel for free. Also, if you haven't already, subscribe. We're breaking down exactly how the wealthy think about money every week, and you don't want to miss the rest of this series. Okay, back to it. How billionaires actually access this. You might be wondering, if this is so good, why doesn't everyone just invest in private equity? The honest answer is, they can't. Most private equity funds require an accredited investor status, which in the US typically means a net worth over $1 million excluding your home, or an income over $200,000 a year. On top of that, minimum investments into these funds often start at $250,000 and can run into the millions. Funds are also frequently closed to new investors entirely unless you have an existing relationship with the firm. This is why billionaires don't invest in private equity the same way you'd buy a stock on an app. They typically go through family offices, private wealth management firms that exist solely to manage one family's fortune, or they commit capital directly as limited partners in massive funds by firms like KKR, Carlyle, or Apollo. Some, like Warren Buffett through Berkshire Hathaway, essentially run their own permanent form of private equity, buying entire companies and holding them indefinitely rather than through a fund with a set exit timeline. The point isn't that this door is completely locked forever. In recent years, some platforms have started creating access points for accredited investors with smaller amounts of capital. And public markets have even seen a rise in publicly traded private equity firms, where regular investors can buy shares of the firm itself, even if they can't get into the underlying funds. It's not the same thing as being a direct limited partner, but it's a way to get some exposure to the industry's growth without needing millions in liquid net worth. The part nobody talks about, the risks, here's where we have to be honest, because most content on this topic makes private equity sound like a guaranteed cheat code. It isn't. The same leverage that amplifies returns on the way up amplifies losses on the way down. If a private equity firm loads a company with debt and that company's revenue falters, the debt doesn't disappear. It can bankrupt the business entirely. There are well-documented cases of once healthy retail and healthcare companies collapsing under private equity debt loads, with job losses that public shareholders in a normal stock rarely have to think about. There's also the illiquidity risk we mentioned as an advantage. It cuts both ways. If you need your money in an emergency, you simply cannot get it out early in most cases. Your capital could be locked for a decade. Fees are another factor. The traditional private equity fee structure is often described as 2 and 20, a 2% annual management fee plus 20% of the profits. That's a significantly higher cost than a simple index fund, which might charge a fraction of a percent. Those fees eat into returns, and not every fund actually beats the market after fees are accounted for. Research on this is genuinely mixed. Some studies show private equity outperforming public markets over the long run. Others show that once fees and risk are properly accounted for, the advantage shrinks or disappears for many funds. The reason this matters is simple. Private equity isn't magic. It's a different risk profile. built for people who already have enough wealth to lock up large sums, absorb potential losses, and wait a decade for a payoff. It rewards patience and tolerance for risk that most regular investors simply cannot afford to take on with money they need for retirement, a home, or an emergency. So when we ask why billionaires choose private equity over the stock market, the real answer isn't that stocks are bad or that private equity is some secret loophole. It's that private equity offers something the public markets structurally cannot: control, leverage, access to inefficient markets, and a reward for patience, all of which only makes sense for people who already have enormous capital and can afford to be locked in for years. For the rest of us, the stock market remains one of the most powerful wealth-building tools ever created, specifically because it's liquid, transparent, and accessible with almost no minimum. The lesson here isn't go find a way into private equity. It's understanding the framework. Control beats passivity, patience is rewarded, and inefficient markets hide the biggest opportunities. You can apply pieces of that thinking through real estate, through owning a small business, through actively researched stock picks without ever needing $250,000 minimum investment. The wealthy don't have a secret the rest of us can't understand. They have access most of us don't, and they've built an entire framework around exploiting the advantages that access provides. Understanding that framework is the first step to applying its lessons wherever you can. If you found this valuable, subscribe. We're doing a full breakdown of how billionaires structure their entire portfolios next, including real estate, art, and private credit. And you won't want to miss it. Drop a comment letting me know what part of this surprised you most. I read every single one. And if you know someone who thinks investing starts and ends with the stock market, send them this video. It might just change how they think about money completely. See you in the next one.